Hello everybody and welcome to the ACLU of New Mexico studio here in Albuquerque. My name is Raychel. I am the digital media strategist here at the ACLU, and I am joined today by Diane Roberts. Diane, welcome.
Thank you, Raychel.
Yeah. We are talking today because today is Transgender Day of Remembrance. As a transgender person myself, I can tell you that this day holds enormous weight in our community. This is a day we set and we stay in a moment where we are remembering those we have lost this last year within our community. This is a solemn day, and it's a day that I think is a great chance for us to educate about the struggles and the trials we have as trans people, so that maybe, just maybe, you can help make a trans person's life better today. So today, Diane, it's Transgender Day of Remembrance. What does that bring up for you?
Today is a really hard day for me because unfortunately most of the transgender people we're remembering today are women and trans women of color who have had their lives taken from them for the sole reason of them being trans. Yeah. And it's such a horrible thing. It's like we shouldn't be walking targets. Yeah. It's also a day for me to remember not only the trans people who somebody else took their life physically, but all the trans people who lost their lives because of society and how society treats us. Yeah. The trans suicide rate is outrageously high. Yeah. As a demographic, our suicide rate is probably double of the worst suicide rate out there. We're 10 times more likely to try to commit suicide. And the only reason for that is a lack of support in how society treats us. When I say these things happen, the discrimination makes us feel worthless, it's not a lie. It's not an exaggeration. Yeah. It's unfortunately ends up costing too many of us our lives. Yeah. Whether it's by somebody else or by our own hand. Yeah. But the problem is behind our hand is all the abuse society has put us through.
Yeah. I can say, just as a matter of statistical reference, if you are a trans person and you receive support from your family, you're half as likely to try to commit suicide. If you then get support from your community, that cuts it in half again. This simply being nice to a trans person, respecting us, giving us dignity and respect, that's going to save lives.
Yeah, literally, you saying hi and smiling could save somebody's life that day.
Yeah, and who doesn't want to save a life?
And when you see a trans person out in public and you think, well, they're fine, they may not be fine, because we've spent our entire lives wearing a mask, and then we transition, and when we get hurt, we just put another mask on so nobody can see how we're being hurt. Yeah. To try to protect ourselves. Yeah. And try to seem stronger than we are.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I personally, I can remember so many times I'll walk into a store or something like that, and I'll be so nervous because you're walking into a new place, you're looking at all the faces, is this a danger? Am I going to be yelled at today? And the person just says, I love your dress, or I love your shoes, or they just smile at you and say hello. That's just so, it sucks that we have to think that that's important and that's special, but it is special for us.
It is, it really is. It's showing that we're accepted. And that's all we really want, is just to be accepted for who we truly are. Yeah. Because for us, when we transition, we're finally living our truth. Yeah. And that should be the happiest time of our life. And unfortunately for so many of us, it is filled with such controversy and such hate. Yeah. That it's devastating.
Yeah, it's honestly the shocking thing to me was when I came out the very next day, how scary even the smallest things were. Like, it was ridiculous. I went from like going through a drive-through, and I completely, like, I was so scared the first time I went through a drive-through. Is this person going to be nice to me when I get up here to pay? Is it going? I mean, it's the little things that, like, we shouldn't have to worry about, but we do.
I mean, unfortunately for trans women, especially trans women of color, we're walking targets. And so many of us, when we come out at work, end up getting forced out of the jobs we like and are good at.
Yeah.
Just because we changed our name and dress a little differently.
You know, the sad irony about that is that for trans people, over 3 in 4 trans people reported that after coming out, their work performance improved, their job satisfaction improved, they were a better person. Yet trans people have double the unemployment rate of the rest of society. What is that? Like literally what's happening is trans people are coming out, they're becoming their best selves, the best employees they can be, and they're being responded to with discrimination, harassment, and termination. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it is. And I can say for myself, I was a much better employee, a much better person after I transitioned. Trans people out there who are highly intelligent, motivated, want to work, want to contribute to society, and can't.
Choosing to hate trans people, to discriminate against us, to harass us, that's definitely a choice. It's a conscious choice, especially when you do it over and over again, especially when in society today, in 2019, where trans people are literally everywhere right now and we're becoming more visible than ever before, choosing to hate us is a literal conscious choice you have to make. You have to think, wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to hate a trans person today, which is ridiculous. That's a completely ridiculous stance to take on life. What advice would you give to any employer out there who you know, they have an employee, they're really good, they're like you, they're the best in the entire company at what they do, and they come to them and say, I'm trans. What should that employer do?
That employer should, first of all, listen to that employee on what they need to be able to smoothly transition. Because 90% of the time, they've done their research and they've got A, B, C needs to be done. Take those things, and none of those things will be outrageous. Most of them are, I would like to have some kind of education on this. Support them in those things. And not just in that meeting, because you're going to run into resistance from other employees. You have to show those employees that you support this person.
Well, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope that you, if nothing else, take away that you can save a trans life simply by respecting us. It's that easy. So thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.